record and do this. We've been talking nonsense. We are recording. Hi, everybody. Um, I'm thrilled to be visiting Stephen in person in Missouri and looking forward to listening to everything he is bringing to us today, songs. And next week, we're back to opera. So, a quick little information about what's happening next week. So next Monday, the Vakai Project starts up, which is the training program for all of the singers. So next Sunday, Stephen is going to lead us through the skill set of the bel canto singer. We're going to listen to all the great singers, kind of broken down into all of the things that we try to teach. For those of you who are on social media, you might have seen that we are in the middle of 5 skills in 5 days with Bel Canto Bootcamp. Yesterday was legato, so we made posts on social media and also on our Facebook page about legato. Today was appoggiatures and ornamentation, so that was day 2 of 5, and the next 3 days we will have more. So share with your students, follow it on social media. So that is next week. When Stephen comes on, you will all see his fabulous new Bel Canto Sunday matinee t-shirt. Derek is going to put a link in the chat to the merchandise. No, that's a week from tomorrow, Melanie. So next Sunday, we are doing this is how you all are going to sound by the end of the summer, and then we start the Monday after that. So there is the Threadless link. We're excited about new merchandise because not only is there new Bel Canto Sunday matinee merchandise, we also, since tomorrow starts Pride Month, we have fantastic Pride merchandise. And Derek, at some point, maybe we will show them the Maria Pride shirt, which is just beautiful. Share it with your friends. Everybody needs Maria Callas on their chests, saying that all people are beautiful, and especially people who are at Bel Canto Bootcamp. So that is, I think, everything I need to say. Derek will interrupt me or talk later. I am going to sit back and listen and, come over Stephen's shoulder and say, oh my God, that is so beautiful. So here he is.
And here's the shirt, everybody. Ta-da!
Fantastic shirt.
Yes. Welcome all. So good to see you again. It's so nice to have company in the house. Of course, the dog won't leave them alone, so the dog's right here with me. He usually goes into another room to bark, but if he barks, I'll really have to mute because it'll be very close. Today we are exploring art song, or let's just say song. Art song makes it sound so, artsy fartsy. So let's just say art. Let's just say song in different languages. I cheated the first time the French out of their fair share, so we are starting with 2 French singers, and then we're going to go to a German singer and an American singer. So I have 4 in all for you today. And we're going to start with a soprano we have heard from before, Ninon Valin, the French soprano who was born in 1886, died in 1961. We heard her sing in a film where she sang Serenade of Gounod. And I think we heard her sing something with Georges Thiel also in the French oh, of course, it was the final scene from Carmen with those beautiful, beautiful soprano chest notes that didn't sound at all like a mezzo singing, but very, very clear and very beautiful and such line. I'm going to start today with a recording that she made when she was 57 years old. Now, Ninon Valin kept her voice in really good shape into the 40s and even the early 1950s. She was still making recording. By the 1950s, she was in her 60s because she was born in 1886. So, this is you would not know from this recording done in 1943 at the age of 57 that she was in any way a soprano of some years, shall we say. I'm going to share all this with you. I've got some new tricks up my sleeve here to try to share more quickly, but we'll see if that actually happens. What I'm going to share, actually, I did that wrong again, because see, I'm still fumbling. I'm gonna stop that share. What I'm gonna do is share the words with you. I've got a sheet with all the texts and translations on them. I'm gonna share that, and I'm gonna do that for all the French and German songs and one Italian song that I'm playing as well. But I'm not going to do it for the English songs that the American singer is singing because, as you will see, I will not need to have you will not need to have the words in front of you for that particular singer. You should all be looking now at Forêts les roses d'Ispahan, the words. Look good. All right, here we go. This is Nino Valin.
Les roses disparant dans leur gaine de pelouse, les jasmins de Mossoul, les fleurs de l'oranger. Ont un parfum moins frais, ont une odeur moins douce, blanche lilas, que ton souffle léger. Ta lèvre est de corail et ton rire léger sonne mieux que l'eau vive et d'une voix plus douce. Mieux que le vent joyeux qui berce l'oranger, mieux que l'oiseau qui chante au bord d'un nid de Oh, Lila, depuis que de l'arbre léger tous les baisers ont fui de ta lèvre si douce, il n'est plus de parfum dans le col orangé, ni de céleste arôme aux roses dans leur Oh, que ton jeune amour, ce papillon léger, revienne vers mon cœur d'une aile bronzée douce, et qu'il parfume encore la fleur de l'oranger, les roses disparant dans leur gaine de
That was the Rosa d'Ispahan from 1943, sung by Nino Valin. Next, I'm going to play a different composer. We're going to have a song of Henri Duparc, and it's orchestrated by Duparc. I believe it was orchestrated by some later composer or arranger. And this is a much earlier recording. She was about 15 years younger at this point. This is from 1928. So do the math. She was quite a bit younger at this point. I'll say no more. Here we go. Duparc's Fidèle. Such a gorgeous song.
L'air des
exquisite, really exquisite singing there. Um, yes, I think between the two, you can tell that she was a little bit younger here. The voice has a lighter, airier texture, and there's a slight less sense of any wear in the surface of the sound. The vibrato is just slightly quicker. Um, and she takes this very slender sound and then can be very powerful with it. And it's that typical French thing that they have, that the voices had such cut, even though they were essentially very lyric. The third selection I'm going to play from Valin is another Fauré song. This a rather late Fauré, not really from his final period, but just before the final period of those very strange song cycles that Fauré wrote at the end of his career. This is Soir, and I'll get the text up here. There we go. And this is one of my favorite Fauré songs. I just love the evocation of a romantic encounter, two lovers standing on a balcony looking at a sunset, and just so evocative. I'll let her do the work.
Voici que les jardins de la nuit vont fleurir, les lignes, les couleurs, les sons deviennent vagues. Vois le dernier rayon agonise des vagues. Ma sœur, entends-tu pas quelque chose mourir? Mais sur mon front tes mains fraîches comme une eau pure, mais sur mes yeux tes mains douces comme des fleurs, et que mon âme oublie le goût secret des fleurs. Sois comme lys fidèle et pâle à ta ceinture. C'est la pitié qui pose ainsi son doigt sur nous, et tout ce qu'on a terre a de soupirs qui montent. Il semble que mon cœur enivré le raconte, ses yeux levés au ciel, si triste et si
Oh, and that beautiful ooh vowel that she sustains at the end, just stunning. So even and perfect. We go now to Gérard Souzet, who we've heard on several occasions. He is French song to many people. He, in the same way that Fischer Dieskau sort of became the model of German song after World War II and into the 1950s, Gérard Souzet became the carrier of the banner of French song. He was born in 1918, only died in 2004. And I would say, unlike Valin, Gérard Souzet's recording career really does divide into pretty definable periods. And that's frankly just because his voice didn't age as well as Valin's did. Like Fischer Dieskau, his freshest vocal period was the 1950s and very early 1960s. And then after that, he did a series of recordings and, of course, concerts and recitals that were still very honorable, but just lacked some of the freshness. I heard him at about 1980 in the recital, and the spirit was willing, but the flesh was weak. I mean, there was not a lot of voice left at that point, although he was still a superb performer and interpreter of these songs. We're going to start with another Fauré song. Fauré is my favorite French composer, so I'm doing a lot of Fauré here. This is Au bord de l'eau, at the water's edge. Another song I really love, and I'll let Mr. Souzet do the talking here.
S'asseoir tous deux au bord du flot qui passe, le voir passer, tous deux s'il glisse un nuage en l'espace, le voir glisser à l'horizon s'il fume à toit de chaume, le voir fumer aux alentours si quelques fleurs en baume son embaumé, entendre au pied du sol où l'eau murmurait, ne pas sentir tant que ce rêve dure. Le temps duré, mais n'apportant de passion profonde, qu'à s'adorer sans nul souci des querelles du monde, les ignorer et seuls tous deux devant tout ce qui lasse, sans se lasser, sentir l'amour devant tout ce qui passe, ne point passer. Sentir l'amour devant tout ce qui passe, ne point passer.
The next song I'd like to play from Souzet is Reynaldo An's La Barchetta, the little boat, from his cycle Venezia. This is a series of songs in Venetian dialect. So, yes, it sounds like Italian, but if you're looking at the text, it doesn't look much like Italian. It looks like some strange hybrid language. But this is the Venetian dialect. And this is a real example of Souzet as a master of color and of dynamics. You'll notice that the plan basically is it's 3 verses, the same music, but he gets quieter and quieter with each passing phrase and each passing verse. So here is La Barchetta.
La notte bella fa presto Ninetta, andemo in barchetta i freschi a ciapar. O Toni godito che la fanzia cava per goder stavava voltarsela solet in laguna e al chiaro del luna sentirsi affogar ti polli la vento forse mia cara che zefiri agora te volse ventolar che tra l'errore chi troppo indiscreto volesse dal petto il vero strapar no vada ste fratole soletti d'assemo et il sorremo li attento amena
Rochelle says she's crying already. That is indeed a stunning ending to a very, very beautiful song. And just when you think he can't bring it down any farther, he just goes down to an absolute whisper. If that doesn't make you feel like you're sitting in a gondola in Venice, I don't know what would. So beautiful. Fischer Dieskau once said that he wished he could be as good a master of French song as Suzet was of German song. But he wasn't actually. So Fischer Dieskau's recordings of French song are, some of them interesting, but not nearly as satisfying as the early Suzet recordings of Schubert, Wolf, Brahms, Beethoven, and Schumann. And this is an early recording of the Schubert song Du bist die Ruhe. Let me get the text here into place. And I would say this is from the mid 1950s. I think this is one of his first recordings with Dalton Baldwin. He had other accompanists before Dalton Baldwin, but throughout most of his career, Baldwin was his guy. And that's who I heard him sing with in 1980. But here we are back in the 50s with Gérard Suzet and Franz Schubert's Du bist die Ruhe.
Du
Derek Goff catches every mistake, every flaw in every voice. Suze put a little H in between melisma and Derek. It doesn't get past Derek. I want you all to know that. Well, it's kind of nice to know when you're listening to something like that that even that somebody can be not perfect because our last selection from Suze is maybe my favorite Fauré song. It's not a song that you hear sung very often in recitals. It's certainly not by students. It's not a song for a young person. You need a little bit of life experience to interpret and to feel Dans la forêt de septembre. Um, really follow the words on this one. It's a beautiful, philosophic, and touching portrayal of an older person comparing the changes in nature to the changes within himself. I will say no more.
Ramures urrimers ammolir, troncs sonores que l'âge creuse, l'antique forêt douloureuse s'accorde à nos mélancolies. Aux sapins agriffés au gouffre, ni désert aux branches brisées, alliés brûlés, fleurs sans rosée. Vous savez bien comme l'on souffre. Et lorsque l'homme assemblée pleure dans le bois solitaire des plaintes d'ombre et de mystère, l'accueillent en pleurant de même. Bonne forêt, promesse ouverte de l'exil que la vie implore. Je viens d'un pas alerte encore, dont ta profondeur encore verte, mais d'un fin boulot de la sorte, une feuille un peu rousse frôle ma tête et tremble à mon épaule. C'est que la forêt vieillissante, sachant l'hiver où tout avorte, déjà proche en moi comme en elle, me fait l'aumône fraternelle de sa première feuille morte.
Michelle says, "Man, that's a good song," and I agree. That's one I have a little trouble getting through when I try to sing it. If I start thinking too much about what I'm singing. Very, very touching and beautiful. Um, we go now to our third singer of the afternoon, who is Ria Ginster. We have heard Ginster on several occasions as a proponent of beautiful legato singing. She was a German soprano born in 1898 and lived until 1985. She did very, very little opera in her career. She was a bit like Ellie Ameling in more modern times, in that she sang in oratorio and she sang song literature in recital extensively throughout the world, and specialized like Ameling not only in German repertoire but in other languages as well. We're going to begin with Brahms' Botschaft, and this is a really charming recording. She doesn't. This is a song. It's easy to let it get heavy and clunky, and she doesn't make that mistake. It's a beautifully fleet and lively performance. Next, I want to play her recording of Franz Schubert's Seligkeit. Um, this is another song like La Barchetta, which is three verses of a strophic song, meaning that the music stays the same for all three verses, but the text changes. Um, Schubert is a master of the strophic songs, and we singers often curse him for writing such beautiful melodies that then we have to remember 6 and 7 different sets of words too, because it's a little difficult to memorize such things. Um, Here she does something very special, especially with the last, very special with the last verse. Notice the kind of liberties and she takes with this. I don't think they're really liberties. I think they're exactly in the spirit of the song. Um, but some people would think that they're a little, well, she uses a lot of rubato and a lot of dynamic contrast. And praise the Lord, says Rochelle. And here we go, Seligkeit. Yes, for all those voice teachers that have told us not to use too much rubato in Schubert, they would be shocked and fall off their chairs if they heard that.
Very wrong.
Yes, Melanie, that's a wonderful comment. It's like she's afraid to say it out loud, and so it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. We're going back to Brahms now for our third selection from Ginster. This is Dein blaues Auge, and another just sterling example of how she draws such beautiful, um, even line and such great legato in everything she sings. Let's get back to the right window, and here we go.
Ein blaues Auge hält so still, ich blicke wie
A very good comment, Melanie, about her vocal acting. Yeah, then the sense of discovery, that sense that almost as if it's being created as she sings it. It's wonderful, um, and such seeming simplicity on top of that. It's I mean she does it without any of that kind of archness that you get from someone like Schwarzkopf or someone like that that sounds so planned. It seems so spontaneous. Um, we're going to have end this visit with Ginster with Debussy's Romance, one of her forays into French song, and this is the first of the two romances, the L'âme évaporée souffrante, um, and she's good in French too. Yeah, Skinster was a recent discovery of mine. I knew of her because she was on. She took place in the 1930s and 40s anthology of Hugo Wolf's song that Walter Legg recorded, but I really didn't get to know her in a broader repertoire until quite recently, and she's pretty stunning. Our fourth singer is an American and someone we have also heard before in this series of meetings, and that is Donald Graham, born 1927 and died in 1983. He was a wonderfully versatile singer. He sang a lot of opera, sang at the Met in both supporting roles and lead roles. I heard him do a wonderful Don Pasquale title role, and I also heard him do Varlam in Boris Godunov. So he wasn't always the star, but he was definitely the star in recital and always championed American composers, although he was a good recitalist for foreign language song as well, and made a wonderful series of recordings of Rorem and other composers, and we're going to hear some of those other composers. But I want to start with, well, what I'm going to do first is stop the share because we don't need, as I said, we don't need lyrics anymore to understand what Mr. Graham is about. So I'm just going to share the computer audio. And this is a recording from the early 60s, I believe, of a broadcast where he sings a Cole Porter song, Begin the Begin.
When they begin the begin, it brings back the sound of music so tender. It brings back a night of tropical splendor. It brings back a memory evergreen. I'm with you once more under the stars, and down by the shore an orchestra's playing, and even the palms seem to be swaying when they begin the begin. Again is past all endeavor, except when that tune clutches my heart, and there we are swearing to love forever, and promising never, never to part. Moments divine, what rapture serene, till clouds came along to disperse the joys we had tasted. And now when I hear people curse the chance that was wasted, I know but too well what they mean. So don't let them begin, let the love that was once a fire remain an ember. Let it sleep like the dead desire I only remember. When they begin, oh yes, let them begin the begin, make them play till the stars that were there before what heaven we're in when they begin the begin. When they begin the begin.
And that's rarely sung that way, that well. I'm gonna take you back to his more usual repertoire now. This is a song by Paul Bowles. Paul Bowles was not only a composer, but a very well-known writer. His novel, The Sheltering Sky, about Morocco, about his life in Morocco, is regarded as one of the best books of the 20th century, best novels. And Bowles was a prolific composer as well, wrote a lot of instrumental music and a lot of wonderful songs, with always kind of a strange little off the beaten track quality to them, so that they have elements of popular song in them, but they're not popular songs, and they have they're quirky songs. Okay, this is a song called Once a Lady Was Here. He wrote the poem for this song himself, as he usually did. And you will notice that there's something a little strange about it. Well, it alternates between 4/4 and 5/4 time. So you have a bar in 4/4, and then you have a bar that has an extra beat. So it gives this very slightly off-kilter sense to this story. This is Once a Lady Was Here, Donald Graham, accompanied by Donald Hazard.
She thought of love. The sun shone the same. The breeze bent the grasses slowly, as it's doing now. So nothing has changed. Her garden still looks the same, but it's a different year. Soon the evening comes down, and paths where she used to wander whiten in the moonlight, and silence is here. No sound of her footsteps passing through the garden gate. No, nothing has changed. Her garden still looks the same, but yesterday is not today.
I told you it was quirky. It's a little different. Now we're going to move on to a recording of a song by Theodore Chandler that concludes a song cycle of his called The Children. and it's a group of songs from the 1940s about children and sort of from a child's viewpoint. Well, this song happens to have not one vocal line, but two vocal lines written on the same staff. He doesn't say to duet, he just throws this in at the end of a song cycle, and suddenly there's two voices. Well, how do you do this? You call a friend on stage to sing the second part, or what do you do? Well, when Donald Graham recorded this, he double tracked it. So we have Donald Graham singing with Donald Graham in this delightful song called Moo is a Cow. Come on, you can do it. Little trouble with the feet here.
Moo is a cow when she makes a bow to a meadow full of hay. Shoo is a hen when she's back again and you want her to go away. Peekaboo is maybe I don't see you, but I'm sure you can't see me. Splash is a stone where a big one's thrown in a river or a lake or sea. Snap is a twig, grunt is a pig, baa is the tune of a sheep. There's a melody hid in the katydid and the cricket that likes to peep. Hush is your lip when your fingertip says you shouldn't make a sound. Hop is a toad right across the road without stopping to look around. Pit-a-pat is rain on the window pane, buzz-a-buzz, a busy bee. Creak is a stare when you ask who's there, and there's no one to say it's me. Tick is a clock, click is a lock, after you've closed the door. And a soft tiptoe is to let you know you have fallen asleep once more. Bounce is a ball up against a wall when you've given it a throw. Rip is a tear in the thing you wear that your mother will want to sew. Rub-a-dub-dub-dub is a drummer boy when the band goes marching by. Twinkles a bright little star at night, or a funny look in your eye. Ouch is a pain, toot is a train, sneeze is perhaps a cold. And my, oh my, as I wonder why you will never do what you're told.
The last song I have for today is one of three songs that John Duke wrote on poems of Edward Arlington Robinson. And we heard one of these three earlier in an earlier session, Luke Havergal. This is Miniver Cheevy, about a man who felt that he was born in the wrong time and longed for the days of chivalry and knights. And this is a wonderful, wonderful example of Graham's very precise and unexaggerated vocal acting. Notice the form that this song is in. It's in an unusual form, and I'm going to see if anybody can guess what the form of this song is. It's not your usual strophic song, or well, I'll just see if this reminds you of anything. in terms of forms of music. This is Miniver Chivi.
Miniver Chibi, child of scorn, grew lean while he assailed the seasons. He wept that he was ever born, and he had reason. Miniver loved the days of old, when swords were bright and steeds were prancing. The vision of a warrior bold would set him dancing. Miniver sighed for what was not, and dreamed and rested from his labors. He dreamed of Thebes and Camelot and Priam's neighbors. Miniver mourned the ripe renown that made so many a name so fragrant. He mourned romance now on the town, and art a vagrant. Miniver loved the Medici, albeit he had never seen one. He would have sinned incessantly could he have been one. Miniver cursed the commonplace and eyed a khaki suit with loathing. He missed the medieval grace of iron clothing. Miniver scorned the gold he sought, but sore annoyed was he without it. Miniver thought and thought and thought and thought about it. Miniver Chivi, born too late, scratched his head and kept on thinking. Miniver coughed and called it fate, and kept on drinking.
Oh, that gives me a kick every time I hear it. Poor Miniver. Um, hey everybody. Yeah, I agree, Judith. That would be a great song to bring out for the early music nerds. Tells you not to live your life too much in the past. It's a cautionary warning for those of us who live too much in the past. Okay, everybody, that's all I've got for today.
What form was that?
Oh, theme and variations.
Yes.
Theme and variations. Judy Mallow won the Maytag washer dryer. I don't really have a Maytag washer dryer for you. I'm sorry. Here is Rochelle.
Oh my God, that was fabulous. I took a break from chatting because I had a little dog sleeping on me the whole time. And you know, if you don't have little doggies of your own, you have to get the doggy love whenever you can. He's like, I can't believe that I had to get up right now. There's also maybe a t-shirt in the works with his face on it because, you know, his master's voice. Who doesn't want to see this on a t-shirt? That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Stevie. We are going to grab a little lunch and then we're going to listen to some more music. We will see you all next week where we will be back to, there's somebody in the street going past. Thank you so much for joining us. Join us on social media for all of the skills as we gear up for a fabulous summer. Bye, everybody.